Hello guys, this is Jones10395 with another homemade creation for you. Today I will show you how to turn an ordinary party popper into a projectile launcher. What you'll need is a threaded pen tip with a small hole, like this. You'll need a blade right here to disassemble the party popper, preferably something precise such as the razor blade you see. We will need tape, I'll talk about that later, a tube and a projectile corresponding to the size of that tube. We're going to use airsoft BBs and a pen, obviously, because the airsoft BB fits perfectly into a pen tube. And of course, your party popper right here. And a lot of those if you want to keep using this. For the disassembly of your party popper, we're going to start off with the razor blade and taking apart the party popper itself. You're going to want to pull this string gently. Don't set it off, even though it does take a lot of force. Be gentle anyways. And one cardinal rule when dealing with any type of blade: always cut away from yourself. I'm just going to tell a quick story here real quick. When I was cutting the orange cap off one of my airsoft pistols when I was smaller, I got carried away, pressed too hard, slipped off the muzzle, and I was holding the barrel like this, and if you can see that kind of line right there in my thumb, I literally severed my own tendon and cut down right to my bone, just in a quick swipe, and it was repaired the same day so that I can move my thumb again. My tendon was stitched back together. Anyways, so be careful with blades. We're going to want to cut the right near where the bottleneck meets the bottle, or the body. Move the string out of the way. Cut down. You really only want to cut down not on a seam, as I just started and it seems to be harder. You're going to only want to cut down halfway, and it doesn't matter if it's not a clean cut all the way through. It doesn't have to be. All you need to get out is the charge right here, which is in the bottom. After a bit of fondling, I finally got it. Maybe make a larger cut when you do this. So here's the charge, and it does have a small amount of gunpowder in it, which is interesting, and I will tell you a bit about that later. You can disregard the rest of the bottle. You don't need your blade anymore. Put the protective cover on it. Now we're going to take apart the pen. The threaded pen is the way to go for this. Obviously take off the front, remove all the internals, and take off the back, which should be relatively easy. And you can keep this if you want, or disregard it, which is what I'm going to do. I just did that for the principle of the video. This pen is not the same diameter as a BB. It widens here, and it's smaller here. This part is the size of a BB, but this isn't. So you won't get the speed or the velocity of the BB that you would want, so we're not going to use this. But if you can find a threaded tip pen like this, and it is the same diameter as the BB, or obviously a small amount larger so it'll float on the barrel, you're going to want to use that. But you can always turn to the classic Bic pen here. I know this isn't a Bic, it's a generic, but you're going to want to remove the tip, keep that, that's the most important part, apart from the barrel. And then if you can see how this is sticking out and the end cap is still there, you're going to want to press down really hard. Don't want to hurt myself. There we go. And this should pop out. It may be different on some pens, but shouldn't be that hard for you to figure out. So you're going to keep this. This is the barrel. And then we're going to take our charge. This is the assembly of the pen gun right here. And you want this hole to be large enough to fit the string through, but small enough to stop the charge from getting pulled out through that same hole when you go to pull it and fire it. So you can see it's seated right down in there. And on your pen, you're going to want to put this back together. Find the side where this hooks in tightest, since it stays on by friction and not threads. This is where the tape would come in handy, I mentioned earlier. You can use the tape to tape around here, which will also guard against when this does finally break, that pieces don't go flying. It won't be enough, the little charger here won't be enough to really make anything that will hurt you. Nothing will break the skin, it just may scare you. So just take note of that. And then obviously we're going to load our projectile, which can be a homemade dart with whatever you prefer, or you can do a BB, is what I'm doing. It'll slide all the way down there, and now you are ready to shoot. We're going to show you first looking at the pen gun itself. Off camera, I had an experience of shooting it, and I held the pen tip right here with no tape on it, and as predicted, when it did explode, kind of inevitably. It was on the second shot. It exploded, and my fingers were holding it directly. Didn't break the skin. That's pen ink from earlier today. Didn't break the skin. It definitely scared me, but just so if something does go wrong, it's not going to be bad. So I put duct tape on here to kind of hold the explosion inside of it, just in case. Loaded up with a BB, got the charge in there ready to go, and we are going to shoot it. Why is it? Alright. So, here we go. Alright. It's shot. Another testament to why it's a good idea to have a piece of tape on there is kind of proven right here. Because the pen cap exploded again, but this is after I took the tape off and ripped it off. But the tape held the explosion in. It kind of just didn't let it go anywhere. So you can see, obviously it broke. And that would have shattered in my hands. It would have scared me again, like the last time. But it just goes to prove to you that it's never a bad idea to have extra precautions